Hey, Flathead Terry here. Hey, hope everything is well with you. In today's adventure, I'm going to install this new old stock inner fender on my 1968 Camaro that is behind me. And I'll show you why in a moment. All right, let me show you why I'm replacing that inner fender well. And there it is. You can see all the corrosion down in here, all the way through here. Look at that. This is all rotted away through here. It is all done. There's even some holes way back here. You can see right through there. So that's the plan, to get that replaced. All right, underneath the front fender, there are two bolts. Here's one right here. That came out no problem. However, this one over here, I'm not so lucky. It looks like they broke off the bolt that mounts it, and then they decided to weld it. All right, I was able to finally break the weld from the fender. Of course, now that that's free, once the fender's removed, I'm going to have to get that bolt removed inside there. So that will be another adventure. Okay, as I start the disassembly process, as you can see, I'm going to have to remove this chrome strip here. Get some of that off. Take that trunk piece off. All right, I need to disconnect the antenna cable, which runs down through there and up and underneath here, all the way underneath the dash, up underneath here to the original AM radio. So I already disconnected it, so I'll just pull it down, and there it is. Right there. So that feeds up over here, right through here. So there's a hole that goes from there back up inside here, up here. So I'll take care of that. All right, you'll notice I took that lower front fender piece off. I wanted to do that to make sure when the fender's lifted off this way and up this way towards me, the fender would not rub against the bumper. So I will protect this. I will protect the bumper as well. So when this gets lifted and pulled out, it's okay. So I wanted to also show where some of the bolt holes are here, if I can show you those, how it's mounted through here, a couple of here. So these are, once this is installed, it's hard to show where the locations of those bolts are. So there we go. All right, as I'm moving along in this project, you can see some of the things I've already removed, but I wanted to show you too some of the bolt locations. Here's one here. There's one back here that I've taken out. Here's another one down here. And as we go around, there's two up here. And we have some way down there. We have, let's see, as I move along, the goal here too is to leave the inner fender on to the fender, leave it connected all the way through. Also, let me go back along here. I have to disconnect the hood either here and here, or up here and up here. Not sure what I'm going to do. There's also some bolts back here, right here, and up here. You can also see down below here, and you can see the holes here, but there's a couple of bolts here on a reinforcement down here. Those, as I scroll around here to the front, are down here. Now you can see I've loosened them all up already, at least this one anyway, this one, and there's another one down here as well. So got those done. Like I showed you before, there's two bolts down here. Unfortunately, this one was welded, which I broke free. Then, as we come up and around into the door panel here, I'm going to try to show you. It's quite bright here. Let's see if I can get in here. Yeah, there's a bolt. And let's get my pointer out here. Let me move it over. Way inside here now. So loads of fun, always something adventurous here in Flathead Terry's garage. It's never easy, and that's okay. I love the challenges. So let me continue on. All right, since I'm the only one here, I put a wrench on the bolt up above, and what I'm going to do then is climb underneath. As I'll show you. And let's see if we can get, let me get underneath here. All right, let's see if we can get that rusty bolt out of there. So my goal is to put the ratchet on here and see if I can make that happen. Well, I got some success here. I'm going to try to hold the camera and turn the wrench at the same time. Yep, it's a little crusty. All right, let's see if I can get it. Yep, that's working. Well, there you go. Was able to get that off of there, believe it or not. I thought that thing was welded on there, but apparently not. So, let me just reach up here, get that wrench off of there. Whoop, here on my hand. There we go. Let's reach up here and get my tool off. There it is. So sometimes it pays to have rust. Another thing I wanted to do is make sure I disconnect the marker light down below here. Let me see if I can get in here. Get that disconnected. I don't want to remove the fender and pull that out of its socket. We'll set that over here carefully. All right, now that I was able to get that bolt removed down there in that particular bracket, we have the other one right here and down here. So let me get those out. Let's get that dampener out. Easier said than done. That's even possible. Gotta twist it. Careful. It's incredible how heavy this is. Let's get these guys out. Okay. Gotta be careful to note if there's any shims underneath here. So, all right. The next step is to get this hood supported enough to relieve the tension that's on the hinge itself. So, I'm debating on how to do this. Do I take these two bolts out and leave it hang on the hood? Or do I do the opposite and go up here and take these two off and leave this attached to the fender? Haven't decided. Or option 3 is to take all 4 bolts out and remove the hinge entirely so I don't have to deal with it at all. So that's what I'm working on. All right, prior to removing that hinge and getting the hood suspended, I did some covering here. As you know, I work alone. My only sidekick is this tripod right here. So I'm going to have to do this by myself. So I'm going to have to support it with the quilt over there, and then we're going to remove them. So let's see what happens. So if you look around Flathead Terry's garage long enough, you're going to be able to find a board that is the proper length to support the hood while I remove the hinges. All right, as you can see, I had a couple boards that I had laying around, of course, in my box of boards. So that helps support it. So right now, this hinge is loose by itself, so I'm going to remove the mounting bolts real quick. Here we are. Antenna in the way there. All right, let's get this bumper covered up here. All right, to this bumper. All right, I think we're pretty secure there. Okay, so, all right, I just took out the 3 mounting bolts down here, and I removed the other one down there. So the only bolt holding this whole thing in right now is right there. So let's get that removed and let's see how easy this is. I think it's rubbing down here is my problem. Okay. All right, that's where the problem is, right there. That's the problem here. We got this thing is, oops, I can feel it here. Here. Now if it would just stay out All right, we're still good here. That's all good. Okay, how does it look here? Close? Ooh, that's close. All right, careful as possible. All right, I'm hitting something which I can't see. All right, there we go. It's off. Looks like I got some good cleanup to do while I have it off. I have to keep track of the different shims that are here. Make sure I don't lose those. And all the way down there. So, there we go. All right, I was able to set it down on some cardboard and then a nice old blanket. Let's take a look. Yeah, that's pretty bad, huh? Pretty darn rusty under there. No surprise. Okay, so what I wanted to show you was this number here. I thought that was interesting to see. This Fender, I believe, was replaced back in the 70s and back 1978 when the car was repainted. So that's the story. So let me take this off, disassemble, remove the inner fender well, get that off of there, and do some more further inspections. All right, let's take a look and see what it's supposed to look like. Here we are. Yep, you can see all that damage done. And that's what it's supposed to look like. Another important thing I mentioned earlier too was, of course, where the battery mount goes. Of course, this one is so far gone you can't even mount it to it, so it's very unsafe. So, all right, there's my little friend, the stud that is frozen. And I brought my other friend, Mr. Propane Torch, and we're going to heat that little sucker up. All right. Mr. Torch always wins. Got it loose. All right. Mr. Vice Grip helped out. There's that bad boy right now. All right. I'm very grateful. My grandfather left me all kinds of taps to clean out some threads. So I'll do that now, get that cleaned up. All right. Now that I have exposure to my door hinges on the passenger side, you can now take a look and see what kind of sad shape they're in. They're the originals. They squeak. And there, you can see there's some washers in there. They are worn out. So over here, I have some fresh ones right over here that I painted up. So those are going to go in. All right. So I have a plan. The top one seems to be easier to access at the moment. So we're going to do that one first with the door closed and see where that takes us. All right, I'm using my swivel 1/2 inch to loosen up all the bolts. Sure I get it in the right way. Now I can see I have one threaded hole right here. So I'm going to get a screw in that thing right away before it rolls away on me. That was successful. All right. Let's get the rest of the bolts back in. All right, I'm going to clean off some of these bolts. They're pretty full of tar here. All right, got all the bolts installed. I'm just tightening them up now. All right, that one's done. All right, another part of this project now is to put on the dust flaps. And on the old original one, as you can see here, they were broke off. Here's a piece that, of course, it's so brittle after being over 50 years old, it just broke off. There's another section that goes in here. But here's the original location. And now let me show you on the new old stock version. Of course, there's no holes in there for the staples. So I will make that happen. All right, I ordered this kit for the new dust flaps. Comes with some instructions, as you see there, and comes with some staples, of course. And fold this a little bit. I'll be doing the right side, of course, which kind of gives you some basic information up here on what to do. Of course, they assume that you already have a good fender to put the staples into. Well, I don't have that luxury. All right, inside the kit here, I'll just take some of these off here, and you can kind of see where what it's supposed to look like is like this. I'll use the old one as a template there. So that's what the old one will do. This one goes over here. So that's the general location. So now the fun part is to install them. I've placed the dust flap in its approximate location according to the original that I have. Put some clamps in here to hold it in position, but my plan here is to drill a couple holes here for the staples and go and start in the middle and kind of work my way around the edges here. This is where it gets tricky. Try to determine where the other hole goes for the staple. So it's right about here. And I got to estimate about where the other one goes. All right. As you can see, I fed the staple in from the other side here. And I'm just going to kind of carefully bend it over here for now. Just to kind of hold it in place. There we go. All right, as you can see, I bent over the staples with a strong needle nose pliers. So now just go around the rest of it and do the same. All right, got the dust cover installed. Pre-drilled the holes for the staples, kind of peened them over with the needle nose pliers. And then I looked in my toolbox and I happened to come across this pair of vice grips. Forgot I even had them, but boy, this worked really good for clamping the, first of all, the dust cover itself to the fender itself, and then also clamping down and pinching all of the staples all the way around. So if you just happen to have one of these, they really come in handy for this kind of job. It's off. All right, as you know, I do a lot of while I'm at it projects, and this is just another one of them. While I had that fender off, I might as well go and clean the frame and the subframe and all the other components on the firewall. Clean off this area in here. I did finish putting the second hinge down below, got that done, so the door opens and closes perfectly with the new hinges. This is what it looks like when you put on the rust inhibitor underneath. I did that everywhere after I cleaned it, and then put on the standard satin black paint throughout. So there we go. Now time for reassembly. All right, well, here we go. Slides under there. Wow, that's too easy. First attempt. It's in there. I just have to put the shims in now. Wow. I am really surprised. All right. See some of the bolt holes line up real nice. All right, shims it is. Okay, while I reassemble, I wanted to show you a couple of things. These nuts and bolts were used previously by the previous owner when they installed the new old stock fenders. So what I did is went online and ordered some of the reproduction of the originals with the U-nuts, of course with the built-in washers, and they're parkerized. And I did order new shims too. They're plated, so got rid of the rusty ones which weren't really going to do any good. So anyway, just a little tip for you to spend the extra money, get the right hardware. All right, just a tip I wanted to pass along to you. When I reinstalled the Fender, I did remove this bracket down here. There's 2 bolts way down below, and then there's 3 here as well. That really helped with the installation and fitment when I reinstalled the Fender. All right, next up is reinstalling the hood hinge. What I did too is I repainted this hinge with the satin, but I taped over the markings where the bolts go, so I can, you know, at least it can help me with the alignment, realignment where it used to be. All right, I believe it's safe to remove the protective covering I put on here. Off on the corner. All right, we're good there. I just want to eyeball the change here. Okay, so I still got this kind of protected a little bit as I get these. So I'm going to tighten up these first because I can see where the hood needs to be in relation to where it used to be. All right, everything is tight. Yeah, I can tell from here now. The hood, now with the new assembly on here, the fender seems to be a little bit closer that way, I believe. So what I can do is make some adjustments. All right, after a few adjustments there, I think we're good. Close is good. The alignment's good. It still bows up a little bit, so I'm going to need to adjust that even lower. Just lower that down a little bit. Other than that, it's good. And let's get that vibration dampener reinstalled. All right. Whew. All right, while I put the front end back together, you'll see the grill there. I did a quick little video on the restoration of it, turned it back to its former glory. So check it out on my channel. All right, I did put the rest of the grill back together and completed that. Put the headlight assemblies back in, the horn assemblies. That is all done now. All right, the main reason why I did this project was to get the battery box configuration correct how it was originally. And there we go. It's all installed now. Next is to get that battery installed. All right, here's the old battery holder here with the bracketry, so I'm really glad I got rid of that. That can be discarded. All right, now that I have the battery installed, you can take a look. This is the battery that came with it, with the car a couple years ago. I'm not too fond of these, but it seems to work. It's only a couple years old. I will continue to use it, but now it's securely fastened down below there. Much safer, and I'm pretty happy about that.